Hi Year 6. Well, welcome back to Lesson 5 of Art. We are working on our multimedia, our mixed media piece, which is based mainly in collage. So our first job is to review our work from last week. You guys must always remember that you are awesome, and we're going to celebrate a couple of people's work and get our ideas from what they've done. Okay, so first of all, I want to say an incredible well done to Lacey at home. I am so impressed with what you've done here. I showed this to my husband and he said, wow, that looks, like someone who's really got a flair for design. So I love the way that you have not only drawn out the shape of your eye, kept it simple so that you've got lots of space in between to collage, but then you have collaged it in with different eyes in a really effective way. I like the way you've used cotton wool as the shines as well. And then I mean, that was impressive enough all by itself. Lacey, if you had just found those eyes somewhere, that would have been amazing enough. But no, Lacey went one step further, and I was amazed to find out that these eyes, she particularly edited them herself on an app that she has on her phone to make them the colours that she wanted and the sizes that she wanted. Then she printed them off, cut them out and collaged with them. That is phenomenal effort. And Lacey, I think you've done absolutely fantastically. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the next thing you're going to do with this, but this is an amazing start. Well done. Okay, another one here from Neve. Again, we're looking at the eye motif. I absolutely love the way that you are clearly talking about LGBT issues. Love is love. I love the way you've drawn and painted your eye. You've done collaging around the edge. That's fantastic. Neve, it's fine if you want to leave it there, but there's just one more thing you could add to this, and this is what we all need to remember as well, and that is, if there's anywhere on your picture that you want to add just one little wink or nod towards Klimt or a Philly, because remember we looked at the Klimt and a Philly patterns, if there's anywhere here that you want to add a little nod to them and say, yes, I'm referencing Chris Philly or Gustav Klimt by putting in a bit of their patterning somewhere, then that would just be incredible. Now it looks amazing as it is, so if you want to leave it like that, that's fine. But can everyone who hasn't finished yet bear that in mind, that somewhere on your picture it would be brilliant if we just had that little nod to those artists to say that we've looked at them. Okay, fantastic example here from Jacob. I'm really excited by his bold image here. It's a very violent image, and it's not that we're trying to glorify violence in any way, but Jacob is making a statement about violent crime because we've been looking at hate crimes and things like that. So his picture is of someone in a hoodie, in case you can't tell, pointing a gun. So this obviously needs to continue, but I absolutely love the start of it. Fabulous work here from Owen. He has collaged his eye, interestingly, with a gigantic piece of an eye in the middle. And then he's used other papers and things to collage it, and he's cut his background out as well to show the shape. So that's a really nice 3D element, the fact that the background is cut out as well. So again, we've got the buttons because that was Owen showing some of the circle shapes that he saw in Klimt and a Philly. But possibly we might need to add a little bit more of Klimt and a Philly, although he's actually used a Klimt picture to collage the eye with. So there's some intrinsic patterning there. Wow. I am speechless almost looking at this picture from Marley. What an absolutely phenomenal piece of drawing. Marley, well, you know that this is one of my favourite singers, so this is absolutely fantastic anyway, but your drawing is absolutely amazing. Now, Marley has decided to add some Klimt patterning into the shirt here. So that's fantastic. And she's also going to have a slogan about racism reflected in the glasses that he's wearing. I think, Marley, we need to add a bit of delineation to your face. I know you don't want to spoil it by going over it in any way, but we may need to just sharpen the focus so that we can really see Lenny Kravitz coming out of the picture at us. Because at the moment he's a little bit faint, but your drawing is superb. Well done. I wanted to show you Frank's picture because his is very different. He has collaged a bird. You can see it very clearly there. And he's collaged in some of the sky behind the bird. Underneath the bird, it's like the patterns that the bird has travelled through the sky with, but these are also patterns that are reflective of Klimt and Affili. So well done. I like the way you've referenced Klimt and Affili there. And this is a symbol of freedom. So it is a symbol of people being free from hate crimes and prejudice. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing how this progresses. Right, well, now that's a bit of encouragement looking at other people's work, a bit of stimulation. And now we need to encourage ourselves that we must not give up. We are almost there with this piece. Even if you feel like you've got a long way to go, our aim is to finish this piece this week and over half term. We've got extra time over half term. I know you don't want to be spending all of half term doing art, but if you could finish it off this week and next week, that would be amazing, because after half term we want to start on a new project. Because there's always the dilemma with art. We could keep on going and keep on going and give ourselves more time, but then we might get a bit bored as well. So we need to just work hard, get it done, and move on to the next thing. Okay. Now, this is what we need to think about today. Where are you going to go with yours? Do you need to continue with collage? If you haven't done much collage, you might need to do some more. Think about, have you referenced Affili and Klimt, like we've talked about? Have you included any of their patterning in your work, even just a small bit? If you think back to Marley's, she only had a small bit of patterning on the shirt. The rest of it was just plain collage around the edge, and then she concentrated on her painting and drawing skills, which are her forte. Today, you could use some inks. If you have inks at home or in school, you can dribble maybe some inks down your work, or even paint with those inks. Would you like to add some viscous paint, some thick paint, some more like acrylic paint or poster paint? Would you like to actually paint some of your work in? If you are doing one of the eyes and you want to have colours dribbling down, you could paint them in a sort of normal flat way, the way that Neve did with hers. That's absolutely beautiful and absolutely fine. But if you want to make your tears, your coloured tears or your normal tears, look a bit thicker, a bit viscous, a bit sort of 3D, then you can mix your paint up first with some PVA glue. It may look a bit whitey when you do that at first, but when it dries, it will dry the colour of the paint and not the colour of the glue. The glue will dry clear, or just add a bit of shine to it. So if you mix up your colours with glue, and then if that is too thick, add a tiny little bit of water or a bit more paint, and then you can, if you hold your picture up vertically and dribble, touch your paint and let gravity do its work. Let the dribbles come down. If you are wanting to do dribbles of any kind, I suggest that you stand your picture up and let the wait until the blob of paint or blob of ink or blob of glue bursts through the surface tension of your blob and let it dribble down under the weight of gravity. Don't try to paint it down, because if you do that, you will create a dribble which is less natural, and it's nice if the dribble follows its own path. It looks a lot more natural. If you draw the dribble in, you're just painting it really. If you want it to actually dribble, you just need to keep on touching in the same spot with your paintbrush pointing down, with your picture vertically standing up, leaning against something. Let it dribble by itself. Even if you have to be patient, and even if you have to tip the paint off it a few times, let it dribble by itself. Otherwise, it won't look quite so dramatic. Okay, so glue is one option to make your tears a lot thicker. Okay, you might want to add some definition maybe with a Sharpie. If you did something a bit like Marley, you might want to use Sharpie to delineate your edges and make them show up more. If you're afraid of using paint because you feel like you don't have the control with the brush, use a Sharpie or use a biro, just something to make it stand out a little bit more. Remember, it's mixed media, so you can do what you like. But just make sure, if you're using any kind of pen, don't draw over paint, don't draw over glue that's wet. You can draw over paint when it's dry, but if you do it when it's wet, you're just going to ruin your pen and it's not going to work anymore. If you draw over pastels, for example, because you might want to use a bit of chalks or pastels in your work, if you draw over that, it's just going to gum up your Sharpie. So if you want to do Sharpie lines, do them first and then add in the other elements. Lastly, you might want to add some gold elements, because that was very reflective, wasn't it, of Klimt and a Philly, but particularly Klimt. So if you're thinking of referencing a Philly and Klimt, think about circles, concentric circles, think about spirals, think about gold, think about the colours they used, and any other shapes that you noticed in their work. Okay. Right. Oh, one last thing. If you are adding a slogan, I love slogans, partly because I love the art of Jamie Reed and the art of punk, that kind of thing. So I love the sort of mismatched letters that you get on punk art, which we looked at before. If you're using a slogan, maybe put that on last or one from last, because you want your writing to stand out. Unless, of course, you do want it sort of half buried underneath your paint. That could look quite cool as well. Maybe just experiment with that. But you probably want it to be towards the end that you put on your slogans if you want them to be clearly seen. Okay. I am absolutely dying to see how you're getting on. So please send me your work this week. I really want to see it. Now I'm going to show you the processes that I went through, just in case any of them are things that you want to do, so you can see how I did it.
No time for panic, baby, everything is gonna be alright.